I'm so pleased to be here at Oxford University sharing ideas with such a special group of people from all over the world. Today's world is rapidly changing, which in turn creates a rapidly changing business environment. And at times, it moves so quickly that it seems almost ungovernable. But govern it we must. A fresh look at corporate governance and the role a board should play yields a number of interesting topics. Surely I can't cover all of them today, but in the time allotted to me, I'd like to cover a few. Most notably, an approach to corporate governance, a pragmatic way to analyze the needs of a corporation and its board. I begin by focusing on the changing identity of the boardroom, how it must change to meet the needs of today's and tomorrow's businesses. As we look at these issues, it is important to remember that the primary responsibility of any corporate board is to maximize shareholder value. The board is the watchdog of the shareholders, and any retreat from this mandate is simply unacceptable. Now, having said that, there are many instances where lines are blurred as one looks at social issues as they relate to shareholder value. So this becomes an extremely stimulating discussion. In our consulting practice at Electronic Boardroom Solutions, we evaluate corporate needs according to 4 key factors which are reflected in our parent company's name, Technology and Marketing Ventures, Inc. Let me walk you through each one of these areas and demonstrate how they affect corporate governance. We begin with technology. Who would have thought that the technological advances that brought us to the 21st century would cause nearly every major corporation on this planet to face a terrifying reality? Billions of dollars of computers will not be able to count to 100 by January 1st, year 2000. Worse yet, it will cost us billions of dollars to teach them how to count again. Technology is as important an input to the business process as land, labor, and capital. Most businesses in one form or another are increasingly driven by and increasingly dependent upon technology. The workforce needs to develop a technology-based expertise, and so does the board. How for the board? Through establishing an ongoing relationship with a new type of board advisor. Every board should have a board-based information technology consultant to ask the right century date questions. Further, every audit committee should have a business person with broad-based technology skills. Why? Because the electronic age has transformed data gathering. This is really the process that's critical in helping the board monitor social and ethical standards as well as perform fiduciary oversight. The audit committee needs an information specialist from the business community who understands the common language of data gathering as well as interpretive distribution. The reason being that these are really the keys to a diverse workforce in a global economy. So, I am recommending a technology specialist on every board and on the audit committee. Technology is no longer a tangential issue. It affects how a company monitors and reports its financial condition. This is directly relevant to shareholder value. It affects how it administers and distributes its employee benefits programs. This is a social values issue. It affects how it produces and distributes products and services, important to simply staying in business. It affects how much capital it will need to continually fund R&D and keep a company current. All of these issues affect long-term shareholder value. Using the year 2000 as an example, you can see how it affects every manner of corporate operations, every manner of shareholder reports and capital expenditures. A technologist understands the various issues surrounding this change and, moreover, the impact it will have throughout the entire corporation. A board would be inadequately equipped to understand and manage such a major event without a technology specialist in place. Now, as I've just indicated, technology does not exist alone. And if you look at the name of our company, it's Technology and Marketing Ventures, Inc. That "and" is very important. For if in the analysis of the boardroom's needs and corporate directives, technology stands alone, then it's absolutely useless. In fact, technology serves operations, distribution, marketing, sales, the whole works. So when I say add a technology specialist from business to the board, I mean a person who clearly understands the interdependencies of all these areas. Then that person can help the board identify real-world problems, create solutions to solve those problems, and finally actually implement those solutions in the real world. So where does board responsibility intersect with getting product to market? Cause-related marketing programs. What do these do? They increase awareness of a company, its products, its services, its social conscience, its social values. But social values must be set in keeping with the director mandate of maximizing shareholder value. So if and when cause-related marketing programs can help a business achieve its business goals while promoting a corporate ethic, then the directors have achieved the ultimate objective. Some recent examples of very effective cause-related marketing programs are Avon's breast cancer awareness campaign or American Express's charge against hunger. Each one of these programs increases brand name awareness and helps to promote health and social responsibility among the corporation's customers. However, before we get too carried away patting corporate directors on the back, we must understand that cause-related marketing does not absolve directors of having ethical oversight. Executives can still behave irresponsibly even when working in a good cause. We advise our clients to look for some key signs of possible ethical lapses. 1, employee and customer complaints. 2, insensitivity in downsizing and restructuring. 3, unjustifiable executive compensation and benefits. Remember, the corporate board remains the watchdog, and a sleeping watchdog is no good to the shareholders or anyone else for that matter. So what about marketing strategy? In successful businesses, marketing strategy must be focused on the customer. The board must understand who the customer is and what the product is that they're really selling. Then the strategic plan can stay focused on the core business, which affects technology, mergers and acquisitions, sales practices, and by the way, contributes to a very appropriate selection for a cause-related marketing program. So in addition to the information advisor on the board being a business person with broad-based technology skills, this person must have a working knowledge of marketing operations. Then the information advisor can help the board understand the risks that are really inherent in joint ventures or mergers. And they do that by asking questions like, do the information systems being used by the various entities communicate efficiently? If not, what will be required to make that happen? Can the business support that type of expenditure? What are the risks if the systems don't mesh? These issues hold as much fundamental importance as the more traditional considerations of expanding markets and capturing market share. Before venturing, the board must have all the information. How do we analyze boards in terms of ventures? It's interesting to note the dictionary definition of ventures. It's defined as an endeavor, a speculation, an investment, and a risk, all very appropriate. Joint ventures hold great promise. They also hold great risk for today's growing businesses. The promise includes expanding markets, products and services, efficiencies, and expertise. The risks include ethical lapses that cause liability concerns and mismanagement resulting from poor communication. Because joint ventures are increasingly initiated at the business unit level, the corporate board needs to set the tone and the values to be assessed for each joint venture opportunity. Then, when a venture opportunity presents itself, a business unit is empowered by clear direction from the very top as to how the corporation evaluates and consummates business opportunities. Well, we talked about technology and marketing ventures. What do we mean by Inc? We mean incorporating all of the business issues into the business of the boardroom. Again, the key business of the boardroom is to protect and maximize shareholder value, to foster the long-term success of the corporation, to set standards that aid this goal. The board faces complex and sometimes competing responsibilities: compliance with legal regulatory requirements, fiduciary oversight, close ethical scrutiny, and keep the stock price rising, but protect the stakeholders. These are tall orders, but not impossible ones. I'd like to take a close look at one issue that today's boards must embrace if they are to succeed for the future. An issue that embraces social values, but also clearly encompasses business principles. I consider lifetime employability versus lifetime employment a critical social values issue. Now, this is not a separate concept that was born in a boardroom and is limited to business hours. Besides affecting corporate organizations and management, it involves personal and interpersonal skills. And the employability issue transcends traditional boundaries. In borderless cyberspace, nobody knows whether you went to Oxford University. Nobody knows what your race is, what your gender is, if you have a disability that forces you to work from home, or even what time it is. Thus, technology is not just changing products, machines, or devices. It is affecting a cultural change. It requires getting educated in fundamentally different ways and fundamentally different social behaviors. Moreover, this education is not just for technocrats. It applies to overseers as well. For example, the internet goes beyond being just a technology issue, for inherently it acts as a marketing distribution channel and as a venture with many diverse partners. New concerns arise when one notes that over 1/2 of the World Wide Web popular sites collect personal information on users and businesses without people's knowledge or consent. That means boards may have to tackle head-on tough social and legal issues that are emerging in this global online world. Issues ranging from dealing with those who would use the medium for illegal activities, to intellectual property, to privacy, to safety. And all of these troubling issues present exciting opportunities for new types of companies and new types of services to serve this market. Now, today's companies cannot promise lifetime employment, but with a commitment to constant training and education, companies may be able to guarantee lifetime employability. The board needs to think about making every person more valuable, because the alternative is an angry, uninvolved, non-adaptable labor force, which clearly can topple a corporate business plan. The board needs to consciously support investment in the people who at any point in time are the company. If the employees are not adaptable to changing business directions and unforeseen market conditions, the company may not survive. And this is where responsibility to stakeholders intersects with the long-term interests of the shareholders. Every organization needs values, but a lean organization needs values even more. When you strip away all the support systems of staff and layers, people have to change their habits and expectations, or else the stress will completely overwhelm them. Everyone is working harder and faster, but positive adaptation only really happens when you look at the world as your opportunity, when you have a methodology to implement some practical solutions, when you keep your sense of humor, and you're governed by your own strong values. Values are what enable people to guide themselves through the kind of changes that exist now and are inherent in the 21st century. The value example has to come from the behaviors of senior management and an independent board of directors. Moreover, to ensure that business is conducted in a socially and ethically responsible manner, the identity of the audit committee has to evolve to include automation and information strategy expertise. I've talked a lot about today's boards and how I think they need to adapt to an ever-changing business culture. Now I'd like to get a bit more specific about how a board for the 21st century can be structured. The board is the final authority in a business enterprise. Accordingly, it is responsible for ensuring that the business in all of the business units in every part of the world is conducted in a socially and ethically responsible manner. Most boards feel that this responsibility rests with an independent audit committee. So whether it be via business information consultant or via a different profile audit committee member, the board's perspective needs to expand to include 21st century realities. These realities include global businesses facing critical issues, and these critical issues are at the intersection of technology, marketing, and ventures. The idea of a global board which allows directors to attend board meetings without regard to geography and enhances capabilities in times of crisis management is being supported by younger, privately held, high-tech companies. These directors consider computer literacy as essential not only for themselves, but also for the members of their board. And they are constantly searching for ways to get more value out of the management board relationship. In many well-known large firms, we are seeing automated boardrooms with high-end capabilities, wired for sound, video, and basically anything else you can think of. Acoustical, audiovisual, and telecommunication capabilities allow global directors to participate easily. But of course, these facilities have to be reliably maintained by corporate staff. Setting up these type of boardrooms is not a single company effort. To ensure the effectiveness of these boardrooms, a boardroom management consultant should be involved in the intra-company architecture. They should be involved in the director needs assessments and the milestone task management, as well as the coordination between the architects, the interior designers, the technology niche specialists. In IBM's new boardroom, for example, each seat at the table has network connectivity for both internal and external connections. There is video on demand and broadcast TV over the network, laptop connectivity for presentation use, video and audio conferencing, and screen projection systems. Unfortunately, while many directors feel that using technology for online business and for online education is okay, they believe an online boardroom for director effectiveness will never work. I believe that business is harder today than it was 5 years ago, and it will be harder 5 years from now. We need to meld space-age values like speed, precision, and efficiency with age-old values like service, quality, and financial strength. The times dictates super directors, and being one means understanding that timing does count, even in routine boardroom communications. So although boardroom workloads are rising, the number of board and committee meetings is falling. And this is due to the day job time demands of board members. So why not use technology to lessen the time, effort, and travel cost of board sessions? Rather than use video conferencing and secure computer chat sessions as only a stopgap, why not write them right into the board charter? If the audit committee could meet by its members hundreds of miles apart by clicking on a mouse key, couldn't it convene more often, or couldn't it accomplish much more in a lot less time? Of course, for a global information strategy to work, a corporation must have a boardroom systems architecture in place. So that is yet another consideration for a board with a technology specialist in place and a corporate staff as it plots its future. Linking the boardroom and business back to the education world, we can only know what we need to know next year if we continuously learn how to increase our skills. As we move forward to the next century, effectiveness in governance will require super directors. Hopefully, at this educational seminar today, we have made a dent in developing the sufficient knowledge and skills that super directors need to carry out the new directives they face. Thank you.